Hello out there, this is Wakeangel2K1 and I am bringing you a review of a toy that I bought at Rhode Island Comic Con, specifically from the Toy Vault booth. This is their personal information. They're centered in Rhode Island, obviously, but yeah, they have a lot of cool stuff at extremely reasonable prices. Old stuff, new stuff, they buy stuff from you, they're really cool. They did not ask me at all to support them in this. I just figured that they deserve the shout out because they are awesome. So let's see. They got several locations here: Warwick, Emerald Square, Crystal, Dartmouth. They have a phone number. Go if you're in their area, you might be able to get stuff. They're really cool. That said, let's take a look at one of the things I got from them. Just as a reminder, the Toy Vault is where I got that really cool Transformers Collector Club depth charge figure. So, if you're hankering for some rare and possible to find Transformers that you can get for less than $30, I still can't believe I lucked out that bad. The Toy Vault, seriously. That said, this is going to be a review of the Heroes of the Storm Dominion Ghost Nova, a figure that I've always wanted for quite some time, and they had marked down from its original price of $26 to $12, and then they had a 25% off sale on that in their booth, so I got it for like less than $10. Taking a look at the back, you get a very nice picture of the figure itself, along with other characters you can get in this franchise. Well, this is where my first problem comes in with NECA. It's the packaging. This is the least friendly packaging for anybody who actually wants to take their toy out. It's sealed up like how certain electronics, like an extra computer mouse or something, would be packed, where there's absolutely no way to open the packaging without cutting it. Now, I was able to cut myself a little door in the back through which I extracted everything like a drawer, but this is really unpleasant, and I would really prefer if they had a bubble that was a lot more friendly to people that want to take a figure out to display it, but they might also want to put it back in the packaging to store afterwards. So that unfriendly packaging was my first gap. All right, so let's get everything all situated up and actually talk about the toy itself. Now, even though I've never played Heroes of the Storm, and I don't really know anything about the franchise, I always wanted to get a Nova figure when I saw it in the stores because she just looks so cool. She sort of looks like an even more cyberpunkish version of Samus. I love the design of her uniform with the armor bits and the cool boots, and she has a really cool giant ponytail. Unfortunately, besides the character's really cool looks and actually quite nice paint job, she's all just a mess of bad plastic tolerances and poor sculpting decisions. I'm sorry to say this is going to be an intensely negative review. Alright, so first of all, take a look at her arms. They simply will not go any lower than this. Her shoulder pads are no problem. They are designed to have enough flex and give and are actually attached lower down her arm so that she can get her arms out just fine. It's getting them in that's the problem, as they did not allow for enough of a cut in her armpit to allow her arm to go down by her side. That's as far as it goes before her arm hits, and she just looks kind of silly with her arm sticking out like this. They try to compensate by giving her an elbow swivel, but it still doesn't look like she has her arms naturally at her side. It looks more like she's constantly gripping her thigh. That's just not pleasant. She has a really cool ball-jointed torso, which allows for plenty of movement to the side and around and back and forth. But then, this was the breaking point of the figure. And I mean literally. This is horrible. And you know what? I've implanted a pin there so that I I can remount it on the pin so that it at least hangs on. But the friction of the joint is completely gone now. I can't fix this. That's because although they had the foresight to make this part of her body, her butt, out of a soft plastic that can flex out of the way when you're moving her legs around, good on them, they chose to use a really hard, brittle plastic to make the central core that they attach the thigh joints to. That means that I can't remove the peg from the joint in there to try and reattach it to this stem and fix it properly. It just cannot be done based on the plastic tolerance. And this is not a problem with just this figure. No, this was the second one that I got. The first figure I took out of the packaging broke in the exact same way on the exact same leg, just from me trying to move the leg upwards. Like, seriously, I tried to do this, and then it snapped. I think part of the reason it snapped is because of the asymmetry of the pin disc. You see how thin the pin disc is in here? Look at the pin disc in the other leg, the one that hasn't broken. You see how much bigger that one is? I don't know why they didn't simply make them symmetrical so that they would have similar joint tolerances, but the fact of the matter is they decided to use a much thinner pin disc on the right leg than it did in the left leg, and because of that, it broke. And it is a problem that happens with this figure just by the nature of the way it's constructed. Because like I said, this is the second one I have, and it broke the exact same way. That's not good at all. That is unacceptable, NECA. Yeah. Hold on, I gotta try and fix it again. Alright, I managed to get the leg back in the socket. But like I said, that's unacceptable. That alone is reason to not buy this figure, unfortunately. It's just bad. However, that's not where the poor sculpting decisions and bad joint tolerances come in. Because she also has this really cool giant sniper rifle that she comes with a slightly warped barrel because it's made out of too soft a plastic. Now this gun is totally awesome looking, and she cannot effectively wield it at all. Now the handle is made to go into her right hand, and there is a peg sticking out of it, which has a corresponding hole in her right hand. I'm not even going to try and get it into her. Yes, the hands are simply held on with a little ball joint. There is an alternate sculpted hand with 2 gesturing fingers for the left hand. Yeah, it's a nice alternate hand. Nice counterpoint to, god damn it. Nice counterpoint to the calm open hand on her left. But you know, aside from just popping it off and putting it in so she can point, it's not really much to it. I tried. It doesn't really help her hold the sniper rifle any. And talking of holding the sniper rifle, let's line up the peg hole in the hand with the peg on the gun. And oh yes, the peg, I glued the peg in the gun back into place because oftentimes what I would do when I tried to pull the peg out is that it would come out of the gun and then leave the peg sticking out of the hand. Yeah, like I said, really, really bad plastic tolerances. Alright, I think you might already be seeing the problem, but let's get it back onto her wrist so we can illustrate it. There we go. You see it? She does absolutely not look like she's holding that thing in any kind of a ready firing position. And because of the aforementioned armpit failure, her arms can't get close enough to her torso to make her look like she's actually like wielding the gun in any kind of ready firing position. I seriously tried, but you just can't really do it. So she can't look good holding her gun. She just looks like she's holding this giant encumbrance. So the gun sculpt is really cool. I can't fault the basic sculpt of the gun. I can't fault the way that, but I can fault the way that they did not in any way take the range of her joints into account. Like, the stock of the gun hits her forearm, preventing her from holding it straight, and then her arms being unable to come close to her torso makes it impossible to look like she's effectively wielding it in any way. So, unfortunately, this figure is a dumpster fire. I also had to stick the braid in the freezer because it didn't want to peg into her head. The peg kept on squishing and getting fatter rather than going into the hole they made in the back of her head. That's no good. And it makes it a real pain to display it in the box too, because you have to take her ponytail off to display it in the box, leaving it looking incomplete. So yeah, I'm sorry folks, but the Hero of the Storm line from NECA is not good. I mean, I don't know how the other characters are, but after getting this one, which was visually my favorite of the set, I have absolutely no desire to collect the rest of them. I'm questioning whether I should ever collect any toys from NECA again after seeing this. This is just terrible. Like, the decision alone to make the leg joints asymmetrical in this way, such that the friction of this joint is so tight and the peg so thin and the plastic so brittle that trying to do a simple act like this would sooner break the peg than it would actually move the joint is a massive failure, especially from a collector-centric toy company like NECA. What were they thinking? So yeah, avoid this figure. This is Wakeangel2K1 signing off. Okay, this is nothing against the Toy Vault though. They can't help it. This is NECA's fault, not the Toy Vault. Toy Vault is awesome. Really quick addendum. The Toy Vault also sold me this really cool Captain Marvel figure. It's a Marvel Legends made by Hasbro. Now, the sculpting may not be quite as ambitious as NECA's, but their plastic tolerances, articulation, and thought to making sculpt that doesn't limit the poseability is leagues above what the NECA figure can produce. So, although, admittedly, the sculpting on a NECA figure is nicer, like Hasbro, they really got their plastic tolerance issues down. I don't have to worry about accidentally snapping any of her pegs when I try to pose her. And she has this really nice alternate head with, with the mask on and this mohawk. So, yeah, I know it's really easy to heap praise on Hasbro because, they make the Transformers, they make all the Marvel superhero toys, but, in every way, this is just objectively a better figure. Yeah. And you can't even say that Hasbro wasn't ambitious with their paint job because they took what was essentially a nude buck with no original sculpting except for the head and this sash around her waist, and they made a really nice rendition of a really cool character. And look, she has an effect part which very nicely fits onto her hand, and it doesn't, it fits on either hand just fine. Look at that. And the figure can look cool wielding it. Unlike Miss I have a gun so huge with this ridiculously shaped stock that I can't even hold. So yeah. This is just to prove that the Toy Vault can actually sell good toys in addition to the occasional train wreck.